Hi, I'm Emma Rawson, a Technical Officer at the Association of Taxation Technicians, or ATT for short. In this video, I'll explain why your tax code is so important, how you can check it's right, and what to do if it isn't. If you're an employee, your employer will deduct your tax directly from your pay under a system called Pay-As-You-Earn, or PAYE for short. To help your employer work out how much tax they need to deduct, HMRC issue them with a PAYE code or tax code. Your tax code will be made up of a string of numbers and letters. These tell your employer what tax-free allowances are available to you, i.e. how much you can earn before you start paying tax. You can find your tax code on a coding notice or Form P2 if HMRC have sent you one. Alternatively, it should be shown on your payslip, and you can also find it in your online personal tax account. But what do all these letters and numbers mean? The most common tax code for taxpayers in England and Wales is 1257L. Let's look at the numbers first. These tell your employer what tax-free allowances are available to you. To work out the number included in your tax code, HMRC drop the last digit of the tax-free amount available to you. The full tax-free personal allowance is £12,570 in tax year 2024-25, which turns into 1257 in this tax code. However, you might have a lower or higher personal allowance. For example, if you claim marriage allowance or tax relief for job expenses, receive a state pension or owe HMRC tax. In each case, HMRC will calculate the allowances available to you and again drop the last number. So for example, if you're entitled to a lower allowance of £4,958, your tax code will contain the number 495 rather than 1257. HMRC will then add a letter to the number. For most taxpayers in England, this will be a letter L added at the end, as shown here. Depending on your circumstances, your tax code might contain a different letter. For example, if you're a Welsh taxpayer, you'll have a C at the start of your tax code, or an S if you're a Scottish taxpayer. If you have a K at the start of your tax code, this means you actually have a minus allowance, as your personal allowance has been reduced to below zero. If this occurs, you should check how your code has been calculated carefully, as it means extra tax will be collected from your pay. Other relatively common tax codes include BR and 0T. If you have either of these tax codes, you won't receive a personal allowance. This might be because you've got 2 or more jobs, and your allowance is being used in full against your other job. Tax code BR means you'll pay basic rate tax at 20% on all your income. 0T means your income will be taxed at the basic, higher and additional rates as appropriate. You can find more information on what the various letters mean online. Just go to gov.uk and search for tax codes. It makes sense to check your tax code from time to time. If you receive a coding notice or a Form P2 from HMRC, that means you've been issued with a new tax code, and you should always check that new code carefully. Another time you should definitely check your tax code is when you start a new job. If you have a P45 from your previous employer, you should hand this over and fill in any new starter checklist that your new employer asks you to complete. Failure to do so could mean you end up on the wrong tax code and pay more tax than needed. If you look at your coding notice or in your personal tax account, this will tell you how your tax code was calculated. HMRC also provides a tax code checker to help you understand what your code means. You can find this by going to gov.uk and searching for Check What Your Tax Code Means. If you think the code is wrong, you'll need to ask HMRC to change it. You can change some of the individual entries that make up your tax code in your personal tax account. This should prompt HMRC to issue a new code. If that doesn't work, or you need more help, you can call HMRC or write to them. You can find more information on how to change your tax code online. Go to gov.uk, search for tax codes, and look for the How to Update Your Tax Code link. Remember, your employer can't check or change your tax code for you. They just supply what HMRC tells them to. It's therefore important that you remain on top of what your tax code means and keep an eye out for any changes.